Today on the bench, we are fixing the brand new Mojave Grom. We got a pinion, we got some motor mounts, and we got some metal axles. Let's dig into it. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So here is our Mojave Grom. If you've missed it, we've made this a brushless system. We have a, was it like 3800 kV brushless motor, a Micro Mamba X2 ESC. We have a Dumbo receiver right here that does have a gyro, which I forgot to really use the last time out. So far, and I kind of predicted this, it is a lot of power for this chassis. So today we're actually going to try to tune it down a little bit. We're going to install the smaller pinion gear, which requires a new motor mount. So this isn't very expensive at all. You got to get all these motor mounts, and they have the gears written on them. That's how you set the stuff on here. I'm also going to try it with the 3S pack that I started out with, the one that I have for the Typhon, and then I'm going to use a 2S and see how that works with the reduced gear, a 2S, and see. What I'm trying to do is when this thing, when this thing was original, had all the factory parts, it did really well. I was really happy with the way it performed. It was bogged down a bit in the grass, so I'm going to try to do is see if maybe with the brushless system we don't have more power, we can plow through the grass a little easier, but calm down the speed to where this thing can still run and handle good. But first thing we need to fix is, and I don't think this had anything to do with the brushless conversion, is we lost the dog bone here on the front, which I've seen from a few people that right now this seems to be kind of a common issue. Not sure how many people, but I've seen 2 people have this problem, and the vehicles were stock. It's had the pin totally shoot out of this front dog bone. So we're going to go ahead and upgrade all these parts here and hope for the best. So let's check out what we get here. So this metal parts kit is ARA 311231 metal axle and wheel hex. Set B 4-piece Grom. Let's see all the goodies we get. So we get metal hexes for there and pins. We get the CVDs here for the front, so wheel nuts and some grub screws in there. Well, just take this thing apart and figure. Oh, I do know one thing that's going to be different is that this is actually one piece, because this is weird that this has to unthread. Make life easy on yourself, just use a wheel to hold the hex. Alrighty, one down, one to go. Yeah, so that's all plastic. That's why this thing was hitting, because there's a metal band that was around here that was supposed to hold the pin, but all that's plastic. So now we will truly have all metal in here. And I tell you what, if you lose the dog bone off the back of this thing, ooh, that is a chore to get that out. So this shouldn't be bad at all. Don't forget, it's okay to use a driver for doing a lot of stuff, but try to make that final assembly do it by hand. So now I'm going to do the same exact thing here for this side, and I'll check in with you when we get to the back. Alright, moving right along to the rear. Okay, we'll put this tire on here so that way we have something to hold that hex. I'll tell you what, the tolerances on this stuff, the bearings on this plastic is horrible. It's horrible trying to get anything off of here. Hopefully you don't mind. I hope the fan's not going to be too loud. It's getting hot in here, and I'm tired of these damn bugs in my... I about can't wait for winter. Usually really don't like the cold weather, but it's been so oppressively hot here. It's like you don't even want to go outside. Well, that one actually came apart fairly easily. But here's the problem, is like now I'm trying to get this bearing. Here's what I found kind of works the best so far out of 4 of these. Just use a screwdriver here, try to get this pried down a little bit the best we can. This is also a good time to check your bearings, make sure they spin freely and they're in good shape. No point putting together something that is broke. So then I take this little needle nose right here, get this wedged in there, and then send it. But damn, bugs, jeez. Always something. Alright, so both bearings feel really good. Put our metal axle in here. I didn't think that, so yeah, I guess if you want to do that metal cups in there or do something, you get the bigger or the newer whatever differentials, and then that should take care of that if you want to. The only reason I'm doing this, like I said, because it had that pin shoot out. Now they do have like a rebuild kit for the CVDs if you desire. I'm just, from what I've seen, it looks like it's a bit of a problem with that pin shooting out, so why go through the hassle of rebuilding if it's just gonna happen again? Where did my dog bone go? Where did my dog bone? Went for a walk. Great. Alright, I'm gonna finish tightening everything by hand like I always preach. Let's try not to strip stuff out, which I think this is already feels like it is. It's gonna happen, but we try to avoid as much as we can. Yeah, I looked up the specs for these shocks, and the oil that they call for seems extremely thick. It does not feel like it is that thick of an oil. I do think I'm going to do some shock tuning here in the future sometime, but it honestly doesn't even really feel like there's anything in there. Let's, I don't want to, but it is full of oil. It's also full of air. Look at that. I moved it and it had air. I just wonder how thick that stuff is. It just doesn't seem to be. Definitely low. It's definitely low on the fluid, but I don't know what to put in there. And I don't feel like messing with all of these shocks, but we are trying to make this thing run right. I really didn't want to turn this into like a whole big, but it does have fluid. They are a little low. Could use some more. So just something to keep in mind if you got one of these. I think when I looked it up, I think they said it was like a 60 or an 80 weight, which it doesn't even begin to feel like it's that thick, but who knows. I'll try to research it again. And to me, this just feels like it's already too thin. That is just a crazy amount of screws to get into this thing. You know, like they couldn't just split this somewhere, maybe save us the whole hassle of having to do all this. So right here it gives you the 59/19. So this is a 19 tooth pinion, so that must be the 59 tooth spur. Over here it says 49 and 20. I really wish they'd marked this better. I think it's 49/29 there. This is 59/19. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is what worries me, because remember we had a problem. We stripped this damn thing out last time. Yeah, I don't feel like it's going to come. What to do. I got it. Drilled it, broke my drill bit, and I knew I was going to destroy that pinion whenever I was going to do it, so I already have another 19 tooth in case I want to go back. But here we have the 18 tooth in case you want. It's a 311-204 18 tooth mod 0.5. And the pinion gear that came with that is in the trash. I have this little kit here that I got on Amazon, and it has the right size, so we will be doing that. I gotta love they put these stickers on here. You can't even read what it's. But anyhow, if you're interested in the kit, it's in my Amazon store. It's a little bit large for what you need for this stuff, but what are you gonna do? So check this out. Get you one of these wax pencil things. I got this at Harbor Freight. And look what we do to this right here. Look at how much easier that is to read. For those of us that are kind of little vision challenged, little dab will do you. But definitely make sure you got Loctite on that pinion gear. I didn't use it here because generally, you know, like these screws pushing into plastic, it generally, like the plastic tends to hold somewhat. You get metal on metal. You don't have a surface that kind of compresses it all. So make sure we get this onto the flat spot there of the motor. So now before we totally tighten this thing, I need to make sure that this is going to engage properly. So the mesh is set. With this piece, yes, the mesh is set. How tight the teeth are gonna go into each other, but we also need to make sure that we have our distance set. So right here is what I'm talking about. So okay, let's loosen this up a little bit more. So we don't want this thing all the way in like that to where it's barely grabbing this gear. And the same thing, we don't want it all the way out here to where it's, we want it to be running about center of that gear. That if you can do that, like here, this pinion is plenty wide. And look at that, we didn't strip that thing out. That is some sloppy mesh though. I'm really not happy with that. I mean, it's a 5918. It's centered in the hole, which is what you want. You want that centered because the spacer does work. See how the hole is like far off to this side. And we got a 5918. It's just oh well, it is what it is. So yeah, there we go. We have that all done. Alright everyone, it's not much to it after this. We're just going to go ahead and install all these screws back in here. I'm going to make sure the suspension... yeah, that's why I don't like sitting on the ground, because you tend to lose these pins over here. We got to make sure that that's all... Yeah, that means the hardest part is make sure that front suspension, those pins, are in place. Oh, let's make sure you can see what's going on. There we go. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get this all screwed down and in place and check back in to show you the hubs. Alright, so we got extra motor mounts. I got extra screws here. I'm not sure what the little grub screws there are for. What would that be for? I don't know. That's weird. I guess I'm probably going to find out here in a quick second. Oh, they go into... Yeah, that's what they do. They go into these hexes and dump all this into this little tray. And we got all kinds of extra parts left over. Screws there. Already have Loctite on them. That's nice. And then we have the hexes. So first things first, let's grab one of these. Go ahead and start that. Find your hole there. Push that from behind. Easiest thing to do is try to lay this thing sideways like so. And there we have it, folks. There we have it. Let's make sure we pull this thing out as much as we can. We want that seated in there. So I'm pulling on these threads and pushing in on that. We're going to go ahead and tighten that up. There we have it. So that's going to work the same way for the rest of the car. Just kind of push back on this, push in on the bearing, try to get that hole there as accessible as possible for yourself. Get the pin slid in there and get the setup. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. We're going to get this buttoned up, and then I'll see you outside. So what's your predictions here? I know we're going to lose some speed. Should I even do another speed run? I think we can. We'll do a speed run on, see what it does on 3S, and then we'll see what it does on 2S. And then we'll see how it goes, and then we'll make a decision from there if we need to go ahead and maybe put this thing back to brushed. So if I do have another ESC, a nice brushed ESC I think I'm going to use versus going back to stock. Let's see if that doesn't maybe provide a little more torque and power than what's on here, or what it came with. And then I also got some gearing I can play with. I can gear up as well. I figure I'm buying all these motor mounts, may as well grab some pinions as well, and we can play around with some gearing. Alright everyone, I will see you shortly out at the little bash spot.